everyone. Welcome to the Spot Real Talk. My name is Tiara.
I'm Tiffany.
I'm Ron.
And we are back with BMF. The hit series is back. Been a lot of drama in between seasons, and we wasn't sure what was going to happen, but this is the fourth and final season, and we are kicking things off today. So glad you guys are here with us. Before we get started in the conversation, please make sure you guys subscribe to our channel, like the video, and go ahead and click that notification bell as well. You never know who we might have pop up and interview with us, so that notification bell is important. Also, go ahead and invite your friends and family. Tell them to get down with the Spot Real Talk because we got a lot of great content coming your way, guys. So don't miss out. So we got the housekeeping out the way. We can go ahead and hop into BMF. Like I said, this is fourth season, first episode. This one's titled Graduation Day. Rightly so, because we got Nicole graduating, getting ready to go off to college, and it's everybody's kind of preparing for that. It's a lot going on in this episode too, because we know last season finished off with Meech, Terry going to Mexico. It was all kind of craziness.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of seen that kick off the episode with them in Mexico. And obviously they're getting shot at and they getting chased through the desert. And they have it's Terry, Meech, and Loco. And apparently we find out that Loco has escaped DEA custody, dressed as a woman somehow. And Terry and Meech helped him to do that. And, something goes down in Mexico. It's not really said what caused this big rift between Terry and Meech, but we seen that Meech got bit by the snake. And there was some kind of witch doctor doing some kind of spell on him or something to heal him. And Terry really wasn't down with that at all.
Well, we were raised Christians. I mean,
Yeah.
okay, well, look, okay, well, that's all you got. If that's all you got, witch doctor, do your thing.
Yeah, I mean, I was with Terry. I was like, I don't know if I want.
No, I'm with Terry too.
Getting involved and all this craziness.
I'm with Terry too.
Well, I mean,
the father, that ain't all you got.
No, I'm just kidding, but I don't know,
No, I hear you.
I'm not. It is what it is. Initially, I'm thinking, could you survive that? But hey.
Well, my thing was, there's no way that this situation is the only thing that would cause such a big rift between them. I'm like, there had to be way more to the story.
Well, I mean, it's like you say, you can't serve two masters, and here you got both of them, and particularly with T, he's trying to rise up, be who he wants to be. You got Meech, and eventually, brothers or not, they're gonna clash.
Mm-hmm. It was also pretty clear that Terry does not get along with Loco at all. We've seen that in past seasons, but Loco always communicates in Spanish, which Terry cannot understand, and Terry does not seem to like that. And I think he feels like belittled a little bit, like I keep getting overlooked.
That's what it is. It's the he feels disrespected. That's the issue also with Meech and stuff too, because when he wants to be his own man, and when you think about it, and we're gonna see it play out over the season and stuff. But when you think about stuff that was happening, like even with Nicole's graduation, like he helped the parents put the party together and stuff. And then when Meech came, like everything stopped. Like Nicole, like pretty much dropped the mic and stuff. All about Meech, and you could see Terry's face was just down. Like, man, I put this party together, but as soon as Meech came in, he he stole the show and he bought the car. And I think he's feeling like the weight of being in Meech's shadow.
Yeah, for sure, and I think that's apparent too. Like 6 months have passed, so it sped up to the future. 6 months, and Terry is back in Detroit, and all of the people that kind of work for them are like, where's Meech? Where's Meech? Even his parents, where's Meech? What's going on? And everybody is kind of questioning where he is, and the parents are, his crew is like, this guy in St. Louis Jay Pusha is being real disrespectful. He's refusing to give up the money on time, and he's short when he does give up the money. So it's setting off Terry's business. And basically, Jay Pusha is saying, I only want to deal with Meech. And it's like every time I think he feels like he does so much to feed everybody, make sure everybody's cared for and looked out for. But here he is getting, overlooked for Meech. Like you said, just sitting in his shadow.
T, at the same point, you got to remember you played second fiddle for quite a bit of time, and Meech was the one who kind of got things going in a sense of you know having a clear head of how to run the business and so forth and so on. Because initially, at one point, you wanted to get out of the business. You didn't want any parts of it. So, but now that you're in it, to share that throne, that's a very difficult task. You know, people don't like sharing thrones. And everybody knows what Meech can do, and they're learning what you can do, Terry. But T, but nobody cares right now. Meech is the prodigal son, and that's just the way it's going to be.
But Terry is holding it down in the D though. And that's what Hoop said, when he was like, well, we appreciate you. And that's why he was feeling disrespected.
But that's
Terry was, because he was like, I've been putting in all this work. I've been holding it down in the D.
As well.
And
As well as a second lieutenant should be able to hold the fort. And that's that's how Meech sees it. As a second lieutenant, not somebody to rival him. And I think that's
they're supposed to be partners though.
Well, yeah, but at what level? I mean, I don't ever remember them discussing 50-50 partnership.
No, they were partners in real life. Like he was supposed to be on the D,
right?
And Meech is supposed to run Atlanta, and then at one point, somebody, I think Terry eventually, I don't know if we'll get there on the show, but I think eventually he was in LA. So they were,
they were doing that thing. I admit
together.
it. But the older brother is always going to look. It's a rivalry, that just, I don't care who you are. It happens when you have two brothers and they're trying to do something like this. You're going to get that kind of fight.
Well, I want to know what y'all thought about Meech going behind Terry's back to collect the money from Jay Pusha, as well as the scuffle that ensued afterwards.
I mean, Jay Pusha said he would only deal with Meech, and that ended. Right. I mean, that's what he said. That's what he did. The fight, on the other hand, yeah, I was expecting that. I mean, it's about time because, again, Terry is upset because he's not getting the respect he thinks he deserves, and I should say, well deserving of him. But as long as Meech steps in that light, everybody looks at Meech.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Do you think it was right of Meech to go and collect, knowing that Terry is supposed, like, he's undermining?
Well, he didn't know about what Terry had planned.
Right.
He didn't. When Terry did that move and stuff, that's why when Meech came to the door and he found out it was Meech, he was like, "Don't let him in."
Right.
It was actually Terry who was doing that behind Meech's back, because Meech is the one that actually has the connection with Jay Pusha, not T.
Exactly.
And so he was trying to handle it without getting Meech involved.
Right.
And that's why Meech showed up the way he did and did it the way he did. It was actually T going behind Meech's back.
Exactly. And so T had to pay the price. He got his butt whooped.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that when they say it all the time, nobody wins when the family feuds.
That's right.
So whatever happened in Mexico, they need to get it settled, because it's very clear that something major happened. It's been 6 months and he's still holding the grudge. So
they both are.
Yeah. So if we talk a little bit about Markeisha too, because Terry got some issues with her, wanting more independence and whatnot.
So do
I thought about Ron when I was He's the first person I thought about, because I was like, the shy. I said, Ron gonna have something to say.
I can't stand her, no matter where she goes. It's the same. It's the same Lala. It's just
not Lala. You didn't like her on Power. You didn't like her on the Shy. You don't like her on BMF.
She's so daggone messy. I don't like her. And T can't seem to get enough of that poison. It's poison.
yeah, her characters do tend to be a little,
Easy.
irky. They kind of like work your nerve a little bit. But
Oh, don't even get me started on what she. Oh no,
But I felt you. I knew you were gonna
oh,
have something to say about her, but she was definitely being messy and mixy and everything by going to tea and
oh,
playing both sides. That's people get hurt like that,
for real.
and then going, you know, talking to the husband. I'm still your wife and all this
Yeah.
stuff. I was just like, she playing with fire.
And
all
she
day.
knows she's not done with Terry because
No.
he basically had to push her out the door when she
Hmm.
came by. So
Right
I
after
like,
telling her husband, because her husband told her keep her legs tight, and what she do? But go right back over to T
Right,
and try to
right,
do something. Now I
right.
can't take her. I can't take her.
Right. That's why I
yeah,
was glad that Terry kind of showed her the door. He's like, I'm being respectful. You said you
hmm,
wanted to be on business. So I was like, good for Terry.
right.
And you saw
And
the look on her face.
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
She looked
She had
disappointed.
her face was on the
Right.
ground. That's where it was.
Yeah.
Because she thought she was gonna work her womanly
Uh-huh.
wiles and stuff. So that's why I was glad that he showed her the door.
And could he trust her? I mean, let's suppose that he acquiesced and said, "Okay, yeah, I'll let you in. You can be a partner or something to that effect." I wouldn't trust her no farther than I can throw her. And,
Well, she
and
just shown herself untrustworthy with what she's doing behind both of
yeah,
her
exactly.
husband and his back. So it's like
So I'm trying to figure out, T, at what point do you learn a lesson to get rid of that poison?
He whipped.
I was about to say
Okay,
he is.
but you know what? You got it. Look,
He
close,
the younger brother. You
close
said it.
I know. Close the nostrils, bruh, because she's all up in your nose. You gotta close the nostrils. You
Well,
gotta do.
what do y'all actually think about Marquisha's proposal? Because she was saying that she basically set up all the stuff for Boone. She had been advising him, giving him the moves, and then when Terry needed help, she was there giving him advice, and it worked out. She did make points about the advice she had given and how it was helpful, and so. I wonder what y'all thought about that. Terry basically told her that the guys wouldn't take her seriously because she's a woman. And I don't know if that's necessarily true because I think in real life, the real person that, is Marquisha's character actually did get involved.
Might be, but she can always be on my advisory committee. But that's about it. Uh,
Well, Marquisha really wants her independence and she's tired of relying on men for money. So I just was like, I don't know. And Terry made a good point. He was like, you've been sitting on the sideline. He was like, playing the game and watching the game is two completely different things.
Absolutely.
And I think that, especially after, being in that shootout with him and whatnot, like that should have shown her how real things can actually get, how dangerous it is. I don't know if she's
This.
thinking.
She want to be a boss,
Yeah, she want to be a
and
boss.
she gonna use her womanly wiles to get it and stuff. And I mean, about her proposal though. I mean, she has been resourceful. I do have to give her that. She does think on her feet. She's smart and she has observed the game, so she is resourceful in that way. She's been resourceful to T, and she's been resourceful to Boom. Now, trusting her,
That's another story.
that's another story.
And that's my point. I mean, I don't know where you could bring her in where she's comfortable and you're comfortable because sooner or later, you know, what's that song by the OJs?
The
Smile
smile on your
face,
face, yeah,
smile
backstabbers.
face, backstabbers. That's her.
Well, she definitely backstabbed a little bit with Boone because the contact that he gave her, Isaac, she went and talked to Isaac's, I guess, ex-girlfriend or whatever, Kiki, and was able to get Isaac's contact. But that was basically information she was passing off to Terry. And I'm like, what's going on here?
It's real messy.
Very.
It's real messy. She playing both sides.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not
Not,
going to work out well for her.
mm-mm.
Well,
Um, Now, somebody else, reappeared on the show. Wasn't sure we was gonna get him, but when we seen the announcements of all the people that were bringing back the season, Eric Kofi Abrifa is on there. I'm like, okay, Lamar's back.
with his British self, I mean, he's playing. What was that? What was the song they were singing? He was singing.
Oh, this time he was singing that's he was in rehab and he was singing shoot, I just had it in my head.
Yes, Jesus loved me or something.
Oh, we shall overcome.
Oh, we
overcome.
right. We should. Oh God.
He's talented though.
I didn't know he could sing that well. He sounded really good.
No, he sang every season that he was on. He sang.
Well, I remember. You can't stop the rain.
Yeah, Frankie, he was singing "Happy Feelings." He can blow for real. And I was wondering. I was watching to see if he was really
right and play the ivory. So I mean,
but I was wondering though because I was like, they showed the fingers and then they showed him, and I was like, okay, is he really playing?
Probably.
So
yeah. But I'll take it face value. I'm like, and I'm thinking, okay, you're in rehab and you talking about you want to take control of your life. I'm like, the devil is a liar.
He sure is.
Oh
in this scenario, like I'm like, he really seemed like he was on the path to redemption. He sounded sincere and wanting to turn his life around, wanting to get on the straight path. The lady at the rehab was praising him for all this progress he had made.
Well, he kicked the addiction, so he did. He did progress in that way. He just has not let go of the vengeance.
Wait, I was gonna say addiction. He kicked the crack addiction. He didn't
right.
kick the revenge addiction.
Yeah. That's the revenge addiction.
He still got plenty of that.
Yeah, because he came out blazing, literally, like just blowing them. Like I wasn't sure who was. I'm like, who could possibly be getting in Detroit shooting at them like this when it seems like Terry kind of got things on lock in the D for the most part. Meech has been making moves. It seems like there's not too much drama, and I'm like, is it the people from Mexico following them? Like, what's going on? Turns out it's Lamar.
And then he gets capped twice.
Well, is he actually dead though?
Well, then we go.
That's the thing. Get shot in the shoulders, and then when they showed the right.
Yeah. But theoretically, though, that's right around the tip of the top part of your lungs. So
right
depending on because if that bullet ricocheted in any way, shape, or form, but hey, we know he's not dead. He's got
right.
Yeah, and he's been shot before. That's you would think too.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. You would think a couple of times being shot, you'd give it up, but nope, he'll be back.
Mm-hmm. I guess he all healed because he got rid of his bag. He don't have the bag anymore, and you see he's bigger too. You see how big his biceps are and stuff.
Yeah.
So what do you think about B Mick though?
I was going to ask the same thing. B Mickey saved the day. And it still wasn't enough for Terry and Meech. He had showed up to the graduation party with his girlfriend and his daughter. Clearly, the daughter has some medical issues. She needed surgery. And it seems like that's the motive behind him coming back around, maybe because he needs some cash to, fund these medical bills and stuff. I thought that B Mickey definitely betrayed them. I understand why Meech and Terry have such harsh feelings towards him. But he did say, we family, right?
Okay, up to that point, I'm like, B, what you doing, man? You showing up, after what went down last season. It's not a good look. I didn't think it was a good look, even though you had your family with you. But, he saved your life, man.
Mm-hmm.
You just let's put it where the goats can get it. He saved your life.
He did.
And Meech, he doesn't want to have any parts of him. I understand, because
Terry either.
Huh?
Terry neither.
Yeah, I think something tells me that Terry would have been more forgiving at that point than Meech.
Terry never liked B Mick though.
I know,
B Mick was.
But Terry can add. I mean, you saved my life, so maybe there's something here. He could at least look at it from that perspective. And I thoroughly.
Oh, he gonna bargain. He gonna bargain if it's something in it for Terry. If it's something in it for Terry, then he'll bargain. But other than that, he in the earlier seasons, he always said,
yeah, he didn't
like your little friend. When he said that to Meech.
Right. Mm-hmm. But Meech was like, I was like, Meech, dang, man. I mean, the boy saved your life and you still can't give him a break. Okay.
Yeah, I think they might come around eventually. I don't know. It seems like that familial bond is what B Mickey is kind of hinging on, like hoping that they'll overlook his shortcomings based on their long year. I mean, they've been together for years, and so I think that
Since
he's
the second
on
grade.
Yeah.
Since
on
the second grade, I
yeah,
think, because you see, like the parents, like
Phil
Lucille
and stuff.
and so they love, yeah, the parents love him too. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. So he is like family.
Yeah.
But he better be careful because standing in between Meech and T at this point, I mean, they are a powder keg that's just waiting to explode. And here you go putting yourself in between, bruh. Your behind ain't wide enough to take that load because Meech is he's in another hemisphere in terms of all the stuff he's got to deal with. He's got to deal with his brother. He's got to deal with Mexico. He's got a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
it's
So
just
I don't know.
not a good look right now to try to get, But then again, he has a family. He's trying to deal with that, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. Well, we briefly mentioned Lucille. It looks like she got an opportunity this episode. Pastor's mother is ill, and so that has created an opportunity for Lucille to fill that role as the new pastor. So they interviewed her. Of course, the church board was real judgy about her recent divorce and how her sons don't walk with the Lord and whatnot. So I think that I don't know how it seemed like I like Lucille's answer. I'll say that because she kind of set them straight in terms of like how she wants to be with the people. She can relate to them, they can relate to her, and she doesn't want to be like up on a pedestal. She wants to be amongst everybody, on the same level. And I think that's always the better approach when you're talking about that type of like church environment. But I think the people on the board are more of a problem than the actual church members.
She has that gift for gab, because I mean, the way she came off with that answer, which was a perfect answer for the question, and it was I think, a poignant question and also an honest one, um, because we do look at family members when we take certain jobs and positions, and so they had a right to ask the question, and she had a right to somewhat dodge the question by putting in what her tactics are in terms of meeting the congregation where they are. So, but I thought it was a good answer to
Mm-hmm.
and that really couldn't be answered.
Well, what I didn't like was how sis tried to pop up on, and she told her she was popping up on her own purpose, trying to catch her, in a moment where she wouldn't expect her. And I'm like, I don't know if I love that idea because it's like, yeah, and she played it off well, like, oh, well, you came at a moment where we ain't have no food in the fridge or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, that church board might be a problem.
I believe that.
Well, I mean, she does have a family worth talking about. So,
I guess
And they didn't. I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say they didn't give her much time to make a decision either.
Mm-mm.
Because you know they asked her, which is an honor that they asked her that, and it was a big decision. But she had like what, a couple days, and then they wanted to present her that weekend
Yeah.
as the new
day of the
pastor to
graduation.
Atlanta. So I was like, that's a huge responsibility, and they did not give her much time to make the decision.
Yeah.
At all. Yeah, but it seems like she is embracing it. I mean, she was
Hmm.
really thrilled when they gave her the new robe or whatever. So I was like, okay, Lucille is really leaning into this. Um Now I don't know what that means for everybody else in her household because again, like I said, they judgy and of course Terry and Meech are in the streets.
Hmm.
And we know that in real life they didn't slow down, they sped it up.
Well,
So
the good news is, okay, she's doing her thing as pastor. Charles looks like he's on another tour. Uh,
mm-hmm.
the boys are going to do what they do, but little Nicole, she has a full ride. So she's cool. She doesn't have to worry about what goes on in the household. So I think right now, the way it's painted, it looks like everybody is where they should be.
Yeah, the family's doing well. I mean, but that's always how it seems when things on the it's some turmoil coming. It's
Yeah,
always
it's
that
for
moment
sure.
Oh,
when
yeah.
it
For
seems
sure.
like everything going great.
Yeah, that Dark Knight is about to run through. So you know that's right.
Yeah, but I did love that little moment that Nicole and Charles had
Yeah.
where they were in the room talking and Nicole finally told him that she actually did get the scholarship so he wouldn't have to worry about paying for her college. And she was really proud to tell him that, but also proud because like she was asking about his father and she was saying how Charles said how his father basically lost some of his ability to do music because of his involvement in the civil rights movements and stuff like that, being injured. And so she was proud that he could carry on his father's legacy. And it's like it was a full circle moment because Charles gets to go off and do his music and do what his father never got to do. And in a way, Nicole is going off to college, the first in the family to graduate. She's doing stuff that nobody in her family got to do. And so, I love when Charles told her, like, you are the best representation of this family. And I was like, that was just the sweetest moment.
It was. It was touching, and it also, to me, showed how grown up Nicole has become because, Charles made a huge mistake as far as the family is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
She was able to overlook that or get beyond it and see the true value of her dad. And that's just a very touchy thing,
Mm-hmm.
She she forgave him and said, "Hey, do you, Dad, and you know, take go to that level that your father couldn't." So
Mm-hmm.
that was a real touchy moment, and I really thought well of her for that.
Yeah.
I appreciated the fact that she was like, the pops is not here, but I want to be the one to tell you that I'm proud of you. Because
Yeah.
how often do we get to hear anybody saying that to Charles? Because most of the time, folks are like tearing him down and talking crazy and stuff and making them feel bad and all this stuff. So, for a daughter to say that to her father, I mean, I'm sure that was really heartwarming.
Another thing that I thought about Charles is that I was like, is he still hoping for an end with Lucille when he tried to go and pay for the the stuff at the door, the cake that had arrived? He seemed like he was like just trying to be helpful, trying to win her over still. And Lucille was asking about the child support money.
There she goes. I mean, you
I thought it
have
was
to
funny.
go there. I mean, my point is look, he's trying to do what he's got to do. He's trying to take care of business. And, she didn't have the money. He had the money. He said, keep the change, young man. I mean, what's wrong with that? And what are you going to do? You going to turn it around and say, oh, that's well, but the child support is overdue. Okay. I mean, could you have done that in another breath? Did you have to do that at that point in time?
See, that's why. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say that's why it was so important for Nicole to say what she said to him and let him know that he was proud because he had Lucille on the other hand.
She's still not over it.
She won't give him a break. I mean,
Well, and Lucille, she's not listening to Nicole either because when they asked what type of cake it was, Nicole was like, she said it's vanilla. And Nicole wanted chocolate.
That's
right.
He's like, so it's good, cool, you got the cake, but you didn't even
listen to your child. Yeah. So I just thought that was funny. I was like, yeah, Lucille still got a little leftover resentment, maybe.
Look, you in that pastoral thing now, so you gotta live it. You gotta,
oh no,
you gotta give it up, Lucille, because I'm sure you're gonna preach on that very thing at one point in time. So
forgive, but don't forget.
Yeah, do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, she got some residuals for sure. She can go ahead and enter that Chris Brown residuals challenge.
Right. Yeah, so I thought this was a really good episode. I also thought it was interesting that they show Milton's father mourning him still. I was like, oh, that's probably gonna come back up again because he seemed like he still wants some justice for that situation. And then I was laughing at Lawanda in cosmetology school, jacking Lucille's hair. I mean, sorry, not Lucille.
Nicole.
Nicole.
That hair was jacked up.
You heard Terry. He's like, she looked like Tito Jackson.
Yeah, so they had some real funny moments this episode, but I was like, you know, it was a good introductory episode for the 4th season. Since we know that this is the last season, it's definitely gonna be spicy. You know, they're gonna speed us through, I think, a lot of stuff. But we know ultimately where things ended up for Terry and Meech. So I don't know if by the end of the season we land there, because it seemed like it's a lot of stuff in between now and where they landed.
But let's not forget old Detective Bryant.
Yeah, he's still definitely.
Yeah, trust me, he's gonna play a factor this season.
Yeah, I mean, he winds up in that. I don't know what
he busts them in one of those scenes early, 2 seasons or last season.
Yeah,
there was a scene where he was like raiding the house, and he would look real proud to take them down.
Yeah.
He showed up in the what was that, sobriety class, or what was it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, so that's what you're doing these days. Okay, let's see what happens with you. Because that look he had on his face, he don't seem to be done with things either. And you know, I don't know if I can blame him. He's lost a lot.
He lost his child. Yeah. He blames everything on Meech and Terry.
Yeah, so they definitely got some heat coming their way. If it ain't Lamar, if it ain't Detective Bryant and whoever is in Mexico and the DEA, apparently. Goodness. So I'm like, yeah, they got a lot going on. But definitely looking forward to seeing what's going to happen this final season. Do we have nominations for who can get the hands this episode? I already know Ron gonna say.
Yeah, go ahead, Ron.
You already know. You already know. Just put her there. Just put her there.
Markeisha, I gotta agree with him. I agree. Me too. I think Markeisha, I think she deserved it too. I was like, sucking my teeth.
Yeah, Markeisha is definitely out of line. I think Lamar can get the hands.
Yeah, too. Because I was just, you gotta heal. You gotta heal, dude.
Yeah. Now, any nominations for Game Ball?
I'm giving it to Nicole.
Yeah, I would say Nicole too. Yeah. Look, graduate, be the first flunnery to graduate, and also that speech for her dad. Definitely.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Well, this was a good one. To the
wait a minute.
Oh.
I gotta go back to the hands list.
Who else?
Lucille.
What? You gonna put Lucille
because of the child support comment and stuff.
I mean, right there at the door.
She's still hurt.
She's still hurt.
I understand hurt, but the brother was doing a noble gesture.
Well, he said after the tour is done, they'll be back in the black. So
what did she say? And so he did a noble gesture, and she had to put him down on Front Street at the door with the brother sitting there. No, you get the hands.
I don't know. I'm just gonna blame it on her hurt.
Blame it on her. Look, blame it all you want. As far as I'm concerned, she gets the hands.
Or we can keep the seat warm.
Right. Okay. Well, to all the viewers out there, thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure you subscribe to our channel, like this video, and click that notification bell. We are also on all major social media platforms at The Spot Real Talk, so give us a follow there. Also, be sure to invite your friends, your family, your cousin, your coworkers, whoever you need to invite to The Spot Real Talk, because there's a lot of hot stuff on this channel. If you haven't already, we have an interview playlist where you can go in and check out a bunch of interviews from various shows, but specifically we have a lot of interviews with the cast members from BMF from previous seasons. So go and check that out. You will not be disappointed. Tiff, Ron, you got anything else before we close?
I'm good.
Okay, well, on that note, we're going to call it a night. Thanks again for watching, and make sure you're back next week for episode 2 recap. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Only getting started when it's midnight, keeping it tight if a nigga wanna go to war. It can get dark but we stay bright, coming like a night, it's on sight if you touch my sleeve. Niggas round there wanna disagree when it's clear that I'm speaking facts. Man like me, you know I'm proactive, never gonna stop till I see the big man's on flats.
Hop on the front door, it's like midnight. Don't lose your grip cause you might fall out again. Off-white whip, need for speed, I'm not switching the lane. Pick up the pace, bro like that, and we're back to the base.
Back to the base.